I'll briefly give you some of my origin story. So I'm out here in LA.
Yes, I want to hear the origin story.
Okay, let's get into the origin story. Fine. So I moved to LA in, I think, about 2010. I literally moved here the day after my brother got married. My brother got married, and I had packed my car full of stuff, driven to his wedding, stayed at the hotel that night, got in the car in the morning, and drove to LA, and I've been here ever since. And I had been in LA once before for a little while, and I worked on a TV show called The George Lopez Show. I don't know if you remember that. She was like a sitcom. I was a PA. And so I met a bunch of industry people there. And you want to hear a little bit of a Hollywood rumor from 2005?
Always.
10-year-old rumors or whatever it is. 15-year-old rumors. So that show was incredibly racist. Like incredibly racist. George Lopez essentially did not want anyone who was working on the show to be white. He wouldn't allow people to be hired.
He was really ahead of his time.
He was really progressive. Yeah. He was really progressing this left-wing thing. So they didn't hire me specifically. I was told specifically I wasn't hired because I was white when I interviewed for that show. And then some like Hispanic guy got the job, but he left the show like unexpectedly after like 2 weeks. So they had to bring in like the next best person. So they just brought me in, even though I'm white.
They're like, could you go tanning a little bit before we bring you in?
Well, I just been back from Hawaii, so I look okay. That's why I went to Hawaii. I went to Hawaii for a month to get better fit because and I do look better. I feel like I look better. I feel better anyway, which I think is the most important thing. But anyway, so I meet George Lopez, and back then I was very skinny and more handsome. And so I meet George Lopez, and he kind of looks me up and down. He's an ugly man. I don't know if you know George Lopez. He's not a good-looking guy.
Let me look him up.
Yeah, he's hideous. So he like looks me up and down, and he goes, "What's up with the man candy?" That was his line. "What's up with the man candy?" And I mean, I was like 24, 25, something, and I just turned to the other guy. I'm like, "What the hell is man candy?" He's like, "It's kind of a compliment. Just go with it." Like,
so you can't have anybody around you that looks better than you. See, look at George Lopez. Looks like a guy who's trying to look hot. Like, look, he's got.
He's you can see the money. You can see the money helping him out.
Yeah.
But you can look what he looked like in his earlier days.
He's got a rough face. He's got a face like a baseball glove. Yeah.
He's he's looking a little bit more dapper these days. He's got the suits and the ties and
smoothed out.
Yeah. He's a rich, ugly guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't mind saying that about George Lopez because basically George Lopez used to cheat on his wife with like prostitutes, right? And his wife gave him like her liver or something, or her kidney. Yeah, because he had some kind of medical condition. Wow. So the wife came in, saved the day, and then he divorced her and was just dating. Yeah, it was horrible.
He took her liver and left her?
Yes. It was either the liver or the kidney. I'm not sure which one. I don't know. What do you transplant? You transplant both, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you transplant anything. You could transplant a face.
Well, I'm transplanting your face on mine if you die ever, madam.
Aw.
That's beautiful. Look at that. I want that, what you got. That was a really bad attempt at a compliment.
While you're petting your cat.
Yes.
Like you're like a villain. You're like a comic book villain.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's my origin story. Maybe it's not superhero at all.
Okay, so you're working for George Lopez. He's cheating on his wife with prostitutes.
Yes.
She then, overlooks that, gives him her liver.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
Yeah. So I kind of got close with the daughter on the show. She's a little bit younger than me, but anyway. So what ended up happening she got kicked off the show because she was white. They found out she was white. When they hired her, they thought that she was like Hispanic because her name's Maciela, right? And then they were like, "Oh no,
Italian."
Well, she's Albanian. She's Albanian.
Okay,
turns out.
Same thing.
And but they thought she was like Mexican or something. And then she gets the show, and they found out she's not Mexican. And like George Lopez was furious, and he was always irritated about this. And so like the last season of the show or something, they like fired her and brought in a Mexican girl because they wanted the whole cast to be like the first all Hispanic cast. I know,
so they could get like written up.
Yeah, so they could like make it into the history books or something. I mean, it was like there was very few people who were like lower level employees that were white. I mean, obviously you had a lot of grips and stuff like that, but and the production people, the directors and everything. But yeah, it was I mean, that was kind of my introduction into Hollywood, because I was working in Warner Brothers, and you would meet amazing people like George Clooney and stuff. Who had an office right across from us. So let me sort of get into where I am now.
George Lopez ruined you for wanting to work in Hollywood, and
no, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. When I was working there, it was a lot of fun, because even though it was kind of a silly show, I mean, it wasn't like the best show ever. I mean, it lasted a long time. And we had the stupid inter-office politics, and there was the whole stupid thing about, like, I was still very hopeful, and I was meeting some kind of, people that I thought were kind of vaguely important. They weren't really that important people in Hollywood, but people that I thought were kind of cool. People who were writing